All right, what do we got? Destiny and profit motive. Now I understand the pun.
Ugh,
Stupid fucking bullshit.
Pun. It's worse than a Q pun. Jesus.
Okay, but here's the thing.
It's less
At least
forced than a Q pun, though.
Yeah, it's an actual pun. They didn't just, make up a thing, you know? Because, half the Q things were actually puns. The other half were just,
Q the fuck is this? It's like,
no, see, that's better.
That would have been better.
Yeah,
that would have been way
that's
better.
too good.
Yeah, but this one's a homophone, so you don't get the pun unless you see it written.
That's
Who
true.
are you calling a homophone?
Yeah,
But
there's nothing wrong with being a homophone.
They also always have the titles appear on screen, though, so...
Yeah, that's true.
Thank
You're
God.
a homophone phobe.
Homophonic. I don't know. Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and joining me today are...
Jake.
Chris?
And Ames. What's that new noise?
Yeah, sorry, it looks like some fuckers have people doing yard work,
It's
so...
too muggy out. Tell them to stop.
Are
would
those
agree.
fuckers your landlords?
No, it's across the street.
Oh.
It's quite loud.
It is
Yeah,
loud.
unfortunately, I apologize in advance. It might get louder. I think these people also work for my landlord, so they might end up outside of my place at some point. Yay.
Yay.
I don't know. Anyway, I apologize in advance if it gets unbearably loud. They might be outside my place. I have all my doors and windows closed.
Ooh.
But, yeah, no, and it is humid, so this is great. Anyway, Caitlin, what number episode are we on?
And we're here today for episode 175.
Woo!
So we're here to talk about 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine today. And those
Unusual.
2 episodes, I know, we're really shaking it up. It's the quarantine, you know? It's the self-isolating. The 2 episodes this week are Destiny and Prophet Motive. Prophet with a PH. And also an E at the end, because that's also relevant to the spelling of profit versus profit. Yes, this is a spelling podcast. So in Destiny, or Density, in Destiny, the Cardassians are sending over some scientists because they want to help Starfleet set up a communications relay that will run from one side of the wormhole to the other. And this dude, Vedic Yarka, who isn't actually a Vedic, he was disrobed or whatever, which I think is illegal. I think that's
disrobed.
pretty sure that's illegal.
I think you mean defrocked.
Whatever.
Defrocked is the
whatever.
name.
Listen, you say tomato, I say his balls were out at church.
It's a judge that gets disrobed.
I don't know. Anyway,
Judges, I think, get
find my
disbarred,
ignorance
actually.
charming, please.
I know.
I thought that was what lawyers did.
That too, though. I think the whole legal profession, you get disbarred if you
I
get
know.
kicked out.
I was just making a joke about disrobed.
Yeah,
I
I used a word intentionally that I knew was not correct, and Jake was building on that joke.
And then you caused it to crash the fuck
Yeah,
down,
you
Chris.
ruined it, but it's
Thanks.
fine.
All right, so who did Yarka
I love
flash?
you all.
Yarka flashed Cisco with
Whoa.
his really with his huge throbbing prophecy. He was
I guess he was disrobed.
well. Please leave me cracking my fucking own self up in there because it's not going to get any better.
Yeah, there's your title, Chris. It works for both of them this time.
Big throbbing prophecy. Oh no. Okay. And in this prophecy, it was prophesied that I'm sorry. Okay. I got 4.5 hours sleep last night. I'm exhausted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm doing
This is
great.
going to be a fun episode.
It's gonna be an episode, that's for sure. So, in the prophecy, I don't know, 3 vipers are gonna come and knock on the door and burn down the temple, something, and a sword of stars. Some kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's some
And
Nostradamus bullshit.
He's like, it's obviously about the Cardassians, and Kira is kind of like, they're only sending 2 people. You said there were going to be 3 Vipers, so it's obviously not right. And then Cisco was like, I don't give a fuck about your stupid religion, so I care about peace. So go fuck yourself. I don't care how many Vipers they send. We're going to do it. We're going to move forward. And they do. So they send over 2 lovely lady scientists, Cardassians, Ulani and Gilora. But they tell us at the end of their first day, they're like, oh, BT Dubs, our colleague Dejar is coming to join us. So now there are going to be 3 Cardassians, and the plot thickens.
Remember,
and Dejar,
they're Viper-like.
yeah, quite Viperly. Actually, Dejar is, like, as soon as she walks onto the station, she's, like, transparently evil. Like,
she
just from
the
like,
worst spy.
transparently
Very
evil.
Viper-like.
Oh, transparently evil. And, that's what I was saying. And it's like, as if the fact that she just looks nasty doesn't tip you off right away, the scientists are very, like scared and, like, speak really third-personally when she's around or something. There's something that changes about the way they talk. I guess it's just that they changed from being, like, human beings to sounding like someone afraid of the deep state, because it's, like, sitting right across from them. So, I don't know. I don't like anything that I just said.
Obama.
Exactly. Obamagate. That's what this...
Obamagate.
That's what
This
I
is
said.
Vipergate.
Vipergate.
No, it's the Obama wormhole.
Oh, no. So, what else happens? So, there's, like, some tension, as you might suspect. The Cardassians, like, think men are no good at doing science, and O'Brien is a
super
racist.
Yep.
Yeah. And,
Glad we're all there for this.
yeah, we're still in stereo here. But, apparently, hilariously, Cardassians think that if you're being argumentative, you're coming onto them, so we have a lovely moment.
Lovely? Ugh.
Well, you know, I knew they weren't gonna fuck, but I thought maybe they could at least spoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm assuming Cardassians are cold-blooded, so it does make sense that she'd want to be on a hot rock.
What?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
He's a hot potato, Jake.
Oh,
he
that's right.
He does have sort of a stony, like, face. I could see it.
I was referring to his rock-hard penis.
No.
Oh.
Oh no. Was he also disrobed?
Yikes.
Oh, very nearly.
Oh dear. Alright, anyway, the point is,
Galora wants to smash Miles.
the fuck? Yeah, she does, and she's really pissed when she finds out he's married. But anyway, so the Cardassians are working together with a team, and they start testing out the
Communication relay?
The relay! Thanks, that's the word. They start testing the communication relay, and the wormhole starts to kind of go wibbly. So they stop, and they realize that they've somehow shifted a comet, so now the comet is heading straight for it. And this comet has in it silithium that's gonna fuck up the wormhole, so they have to try to move the comet, or blow up the comet, or get rid of the comet.
My God, the prophecy is coming true, Caitlin!
It's a sword of stars!
Ah!
But yeah, so they decide that they're gonna Armageddon this thing and blow it up. Is that what happens in Armageddon? I've never seen Armageddon, I don't really know.
Yeah, kinda. Except
Yeah.
they drill. They go in. It's
Well,
like this. They go into the thing.
penetration.
They
And
try
then
to
it blows
plow.
up
They
from
try
the
to plow a
inside.
Cardassian. Yeah, we
That's-
get it.
Like
where-
dynamite in an asshole.
Well,
That's where Faith of the Heart comes from.
I was thinking more about they had like a "Don't Want to Miss a Thing" montage or something, but
Yeah, same song.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that movie was horrible.
Yeah.
Just
I
putting
never
that out
saw
there.
it.
It's bad.
But
Don't
you know
see
what's funny is Criterion had the rights for a while because it was considered to be like such a crucial part of the zeitgeist of that time.
That and The Rock.
It's just wild. Well, The Rock's actually good. Anyway,
The
we're
Rock's
never
at least a fun watch.
never
Yeah.
gonna get through this summary.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's my fault. I keep interrupting myself, really. Yeah, so they decide they're going to blow up this asteroid, and they go to do that, but they need to do it a certain way, because if it, like, blows up into chunks, it could go in the wormhole and fuck shit up. So they're, like, trying to modify the phasers. I don't really understand what the fuck happens, but the point is, some sabotage happens. Their phasers don't work right, and some shards of comet do go into the wormhole, and oh fuck, suddenly it's everyone's worst nightmare. Something's happening in the wormhole. Except it isn't, because the 3 Vipers weren't the Cardassians, they were comet fragments, and burning the gates didn't mean that they were going to destroy the wormhole. They meant that the gates are permanently open, and the gates were the way for the relay. So everything's fine.
How
And
are
also-
rocks like vipers?
I don't
How are
know.
they more like vipers than 3 snake-like people?
Yeah,
Listen.
that's a good question.
Guys, we kind of like talk to the prophets later in the next episode, and we know they're not really great on this whole verbal communication thing.
It's true.
Maybe they thought vipers were rocks.
Also,
Maybe
I'm
when
pretty sure you could have adjusted that prophecy to mean 9/11.
Literally anything. Which is
Basically,
why
yeah.
thinking this is like part of the great thing about Bajoran religion is like they believe it like every Bible story really happened and it's like legitimately the real thing. And
Well,
it's-
being fair though, unlike Earth religion, which is all bullshit and lies, this is these people actually can contact the hyper advanced aliens that apparently see all of time at once.
Here's the thing, though. They don't contact the aliens. They were given these orbs
Yeah, the
that
few
have
orb visions.
that make them have really questionable visions that can be construed as literally anything. Like they,
Like Barial being naked and sexing you.
Yeah, that's what I mean, like, so
holding up
far,
a-
no,
all-
that one was pretty clear. That
all
was just about
their
sex.
prophecies so far, I mean, have in some way, shape, or form been right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're saying in some way, shape, or form. Like that's so fucking loose.
Well,
like,
also I
literally
think though
this
part
can mean
of the reason
anything.
why this one was so not great was just because it was old, right? This is an older prophecy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did talk
3,000
about.
years old or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
and
is-
Ben
This
talked
is
about. Sorry, God.
Yeah, this is Trakar's third prophecy. This guy's been, passing this prophecy down through the generations for I don't know how long they said. You said 3,000 years or something?
Yeah,
I think it was 3,000, yeah.
yeah. At some point, they say that.
Well, maybe it's like in Harry Potter where there's just like a hall of prophecies. And they just have them there, and every once in a while they blow the dust off it to see what's up.
Yeah,
Well,
so
like-
this is probably whatever Trakar saw in a vision and tried to write down. And there's no way, like if I had a random dream, I had a random dream last night that my brother and my father both crashed into my car and ripped off my side mirror and one of my tires. And if I tried to like write down everything that happened in that dream, I wouldn't be able to write nearly any of it down in a way that would seemingly mean anything.
And
you also gotta
3,000
figure-
years from now, someone would think that it meant that, a bunch of spies were coming to blow up
Yep,
your
yep.
wormhole.
Well, you also
Exactly.
got to figure that presumably this prophecy happened before the Bajorans had any kind of space travel capability. So presumably, even if this guy saw a spaceship and comets and aliens in his prophecy, he'd be like, "What the fuck?" and he wouldn't know what it was.
Yeah, have you ever watched anything on Nostradamus? Because it's all fucking nonsense.
Well,
well, he was. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, so I remember, I mentioned 9/11, and right around 9/11, everyone was like pointing to, "Oh, look at this crazy Nostradamus thing that totally matches."
Yeah,
so,
it's about these silver birds.
So I was just thinking, though, people will take a Nostradamus prophecy and literally mold it to fit any situation. So I'm trying to think, how could we get this prophecy from Bajor to fit 9/11? So we got the 3 Vipers, which are obviously the planes that hit the towers and the Pentagon.
Yep.
Yep.
The Sword of Stars is obviously the towers, right? Because, they're like a sword shooting towards the stars.
No, sure.
But there's 2 of them. How do you explain that?
Just lost in translation.
Yeah, you're looking at it from a certain angle.
Yeah.
You see them as one.
They also, and at night, when they're all lit up, they would look
Mhm.
like swords
Stars.
made of stars.
Yeah, that's right. What else we got? Oh, the gates of the temple.
Yeah.
Well,
Or burning.
that's Ellis Island, right? I mean...
Oh yeah,
It is
returning
the-
to your nest. Mm.
Yeah, it's the gates to America.
Now, where
Um,
does the emissary fall into place?
Well, obviously that's Bush.
George W. Yeah.
Yeah.
George W.
He was reading a children's book at the time.
What's interesting, I
And
remember
then
Struggling to read a
continued-
children's
Then
book.
continued to read it, as if I recall correctly.
I remember hearing ages ago, and I've never looked into this more, but that like a lot of people actually that Nostradamus was actually a political satirist, but
Oh, that's
wherever he lived, openly mocking the government would have gotten him into trouble. So he wrote these quote-unquote prophecies. So, like, if you were from where he was and from his time, you'd be like, I get it.
I see what you did there.
But that has, without the proper historical context, it's lost. I don't know if that's actually been, like, how likely that is, like, how solid that theory is and how much academia has been done on it.
I've heard the same theory about Machiavelli, though, that, like, The Prince was written as, like, look at how fucked up this is. And, of course, people read it and were like, oh my god, this is a great blueprint.
Yeah. But yeah, and you mentioned Jake, though, in this, Lost in Translation. They even talk about that in the prophecy in the episode.
Isn't it? Doesn't Julian say it? He's like...
No, Ben, I think,
Oh,
mentions
Cisco
it.
did it? Because he's like, it's... Oh, that's right, because he has this great conversation with Kira, where she's kind of talking about how, like, he's her senior officer, but she also believes him to be the emissary.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm a Starfleet captain. That wasn't a fucking sword of stars. It was a shooting star or an asteroid or some shit.
Comet.
Yeah, that's it. That's just all the
I
same.
don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, babe. And I don't know the words.
Don't want to miss a thing.
The absolute best use of that song is, for anyone listening, look up the opening of Saints Row 4. It's fucking amazing.
Great. So I'm looking at this prophecy and thinking to myself, all right, so they're saying that this thing could destroy the wormhole, and they, for some reason, think that's a bad thing, where this whole time I've been saying it's going to be a great thing if you destroy the wormhole, because that will stop any kind of Dominion invasion that... Spoilers, we're going to see more Dominion invasions. It's kind of going to be obvious.
But then we'll be short like 4 years of show if they do that.
I don't care.
Also, it's like a holy site, It'd be like blowing up, the Mecca or something.
I almost just spoke out loud. Imagine believing in aliens and still thinking they are gods, and then I remember Scientology. But Scientologists don't really believe in Scientology. I don't think. I don't know.
I mean, I've
Have
said this
you seen
before,
Tom
though,
Cruise?
That, the Bajorans gods, the prophets, are actually real.
Yeah, they're there.
Aliens.
But they don't know that. They're just like, no. I mean, who what does it matter if our gods are aliens? They can see through time.
The only people who've talked with them are Cisco, and later in the next episode, another person we'll discuss.
2 other people even.
Yeah, 2 of them. Jesus. But the fucking wormhole aliens think we're all fucking nuts.
Can you blame them?
Ow!
Oh yeah, so our non-Vedic this week.
Yarka.
I'm sitting there, oh shit, that guy's in The Mummy.
That guy's in everything.
Yes, but I looked him up to be sure. I was like, I'm like 99% sure that's the Mummy guy. And it turns out this is his second appearance in Star Trek.
What was he before?
We saw him in TNG as a Klingon, which is why it wasn't obvious.
Oh, wow.
It's from Unification Part 1, when, and I didn't remember this, I looked this up, when Picard is looking to get a cloak-capable ship to get to Romulus to find Spock. Mm-hmm. He's the, like, guy he talks to who won't let him talk to Gowron and all that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
that's him. And when it's funny, when I saw a picture of him in the makeup, it's like, oh wow, now that I know that's him, it is actually blatantly fucking obvious that's him under the Klingon makeup.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, no, he's definitely one of those huge that guy actors. He's all over the place.
Every time he talked, like, because I've seen him in other things, of course, because he's in literally every show.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, he sounds weird. He sounds like he's talking with his nose pinched. And I'm wondering if they put the Bajoran prosthetic on too tight.
Yeah, it's almost certainly.
I mean, he may have like a deviated septum. We don't know.
Yeah, but no, I've seen him. I've seen him in other shows where he doesn't sound like that.
Like he doesn't sound like that in The Mummy, which was after this.
Wasn't he also, speaking of he always plays, well, I guess he always plays Middle Eastern characters because he kind of looks Middle Eastern, I guess. But he's apparently Indian. Really? That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Because he was also in Stargate. He was one of the Egyptian,
the show or the movie?
Both. He's like one of 2 characters, I think, or 2 actors that appeared in both the film and the series as the same character.
He's like cool. Radar.
I was thinking that too. I almost said he's like Radar.
I mean, he was a bit part. I mean, not a bit part. He was a pretty big part in the movie, but like a bit part in the show, I think. If it's the same guy, I should actually check if it's the same guy. I think it is.
Yeah, I'm looking him up anyway because I want to make sure that I'm not wrong when I said he was.
Yeah, he was one of the
Pretty
guys,
sure
one of the dudes on Abydos.
Pretty sure he's. It said he was Egyptian. I mean Indian.
I was
Jesus.
gonna say, didn't you just say he was Indian?
Yeah, but we've been talking about.
Egypt?
Oh, the Mummy. Yes. Okay.
Well,
Yep.
the Mummy and
He's played 2 Egyptian characters.
the Mummy and the Stargate.
Stargate. Yeah.
While you're doing that, I'm going to tell you what the original pitch of this show was.
Yes,
Because
please.
it was very different, and they had to kick it around for a season and a half to figure out what to do with it. Because the original idea was that whatever the prophecy was going to be this happy, bouncy miracle thing that would happen. And it was like, where's the tension? Why wouldn't Cisco just be totally on board with this? If it's like some great thing is going to happen to Bajor, we should all be excited. And they said they think it was probably Ronald D. Moore who came up with the idea, because Ronald D. Moore is great in everything. That said, you know what? It should be a doom prophecy.
There we go.
That'll make it much more interesting. So they did that.
Well, it definitely makes it tense. Yeah, you know.
Oh yeah, it makes for a much better episode, and it makes for, being able to watch the conflict in Cisco being like, I don't want to be your messiah. I'm not interested. Please let me go live my own life.
Yeah.
Until he realizes something else.
I feel like, you want your messiahs to be reticent.
I was surprised when Yarka was going to tell him what the next prophecy thing was. And I think, does it just cut off at the end where, you're going to have to make a choice?
Yeah.
And it just cuts off right there, and you're like, oh, something else is going to come up, and we don't know what it's going to be yet, but now maybe Cisco knows?
Well, I mean, the prophecies aren't secret. He could look them up whenever he wants. He was at one point in the episode.
I feel like you shouldn't know what your future is going to be.
I don't know, but I feel like that would be very helpful. But we've also seen, though,
Very Doc Brown.
Yeah, but we've also seen, in just this week, that even when you know about the prophecy,
You don't know.
It's still going to happen. Like, you can't...
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing about the
Well,
prophets.
and it's usually fighting against prophecy and shit that makes it happen the way it happens.
Yeah, at least in the Greek mold, usually. There's a great line in the new DuckTales where a character accidentally travels back in time and goes to warn somebody about something. They go, no! Haven't you seen any movie? It's like, yeah. Also, yeah, that is the guy from Stargate, and yeah, he's Indian American. Which is surprising. I would have thought he was Anglo-Indian, because he always has that slight Britishiness to his voice.
Interesting. Yeah. Prophecy. Prophecy's funny. What show did we just watch? Oh, Devs. That was one we just watched.
Oh, Devs. Yeah, Devs is great.
That deals with future predictions and how shit's inevitable.
What the hell is Devs about?
It's really cool. I mean, I don't know. The first half is really cool. The second half's it was like an 8-episode limited series. It probably could have been a 4-episode limited series and been okay.
Okay.
But it was pretty good. It was it's like
they're trying to hack the future effectively.
Yeah, so Ron Swanson plays a guy who's like a tech genius.
Okay.
And he's trying to do some crazy quantum computing thing that can make a perfect prediction engine to determine any future events in the universe.
Oh, huh. I'm not gonna, because I've heard vaguely, like, there's a show called Devs. I've never looked into it. I legitimately just assumed it was a reality show about making apps or something.
Oh, no.
No.
Actually, close.
It's like a sci-fi show.
Like, now I might actually have to look into it.
Yeah,
at least
it's very
for 4
clever.
episodes.
Yeah.
It's super clever.
You have to watch the whole thing. I think it's okay. 7 out of 10. Doesn't quite stick the landing.
Yeah, I was gonna say could have stuck the landing better.
Got nothing else to do still, so
yeah.
Yeah,
It's by the same guy that did what was the movie we watched?
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. He also wrote
really good.
Sunshine.
Oh, Sunshine.
And 28 Days Later.
Okay.
So he's a pretty accomplished dude.
I can't imagine doing like a small series like that, even doing it at all, if you don't have a good landing.
Yeah. Oh, and Agnes is in it.
No
Agnes?
shit.
Yeah, Alison
Picard.
Playing almost exactly the same character.
You know what I found pretty funny was, of the 3 Cardassians, the one that was, thought O'Brien was into her.
Galora.
Had, like, the subtlest makeup.
Subtle?
Like, obviously, she's still gray, she's still got, like, but, like, some Cardassians have, and, the other 2 women even have, like, really thick, like, under-eye ridges, and a more, like, made up. Like, with her, they kind of pulled a The Hobbit, where, like, you look at the dwarves, and, like, most of them are really under heavy dwarf makeup, except the ones we're supposed to find sexy.
Yeah.
And I feel like they kind of pulled that with her, where they, like, she's still obviously a Cardassian, don't get me wrong, but they did, like, as little as they kind of could get away with and still have her be obviously a Cardassian, if that makes sense.
Are you saying in-world makeup or production makeup?
Production
Okay.
makeup.
I got very confused because I'm like, yeah, no, she had the blue spoon.
Yeah, no, all
Her
three of them
spoon
did,
was
which I
blue.
liked. They
One
all
of her
had, and they
neck
had the
ridges
little,
was
yep.
blue. Yeah.
Yeah, she had some interesting neck stuff going on, I noticed. Like, multicolored scale-looking shit happening.
She was pretty. I
Yeah.
liked her.
She was.
Yeah, some of them.
I thought she looked like Julia Louis-Dreyfus if she was a Elaine from...
Yeah, no, I'm trying to picture.
Yeah, I'm sure you do know who she is. I don't know why, I just...
You know, that incredibly famous actor.
Interestingly,
yeah, sorry, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
I looked her up, and funny enough, she actually is a recurring character in the final season of Babylon 5.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
No, the
that oft quoted
Ulani there, the
Galora.
Galora.
I mean, sorry.
I thought Ulani was. I mean, I liked the sexy times with Galora, but I actually liked Ulani the best because she seemed the most like chill.
Well, she seemed like a pleasant grandma type.
Yeah,
like, she
I
had,
was gonna say like a mom bringing candy in.
She has the Cardassian equivalent of like butterscotch hard candies in her purse.
Granny.
So
I love that they. Oh, go ahead.
I love that Cardassian mating is basically every sitcom ever.
They just go heavy on the negs.
Oh.
Yeah, like they both get cross at each other until they hate fuck, basically.
So Miles
like,
and Keiko.
Yeah, I like that that's actually their culture, though, because I'm sitting there, like, watching most of this episode, like, god damn it, if he was single, I would be sure they're gonna hate fuck. And then that's actually a plot point where, like, that's apparently how Cardassian mating works.
She's gonna come back and kill Keiko. Good?
That puts a lot of other interactions we've had with Cardassians in a different light. I mean, I'm pretty sure the judge in also wanted to fuck O'Brien. Like, hard.
Every Cardassian we've met wants to fuck O'Brien, apparently.
Gul Dukat just wants to get in Sisko's drawers, like, whoa.
Gul Dukat wants to get in everyone's drawers, apparently.
True.
And don't even mention Garrett.
Apparently the only one he doesn't is Kira, because he's actually nice to Kira a lot of the time.
So, if this has come up before, tell me it has and we can not talk about it. You're probably not going to talk about it anyway. Have we discussed, like, do Cardassians lay eggs?
Oh, I don't know if we've discussed.
Like, they're lizard people. But the way...
But they can procreate with Bajorans. And Bajorans don't lay eggs.
Yeah.
And she told him she could give him plenty of
fertile,
sons.
yeah, so, I mean, they must
children.
be compatible.
So unless she was thinking he would just, like, spunk on her freshly laid eggs or whatever.
Wouldn't work. I've tried.
It's like... It's like the Atlantis episode of Futurama.
Yeah, it's true.
I know. Oh, doesn't, like, Fry try to fuck a mermaid?
Why couldn't any other kind of mermaid?
And she's like, I'm gonna lay my eggs and
leave, and then you're gonna...
Yeah, I do remember that.
Turns out I loved her, but I wasn't in love with her. And Amy and Leela look at each other. Problems in the bedroom.
Good joke, Chris.
Not my
Good
joke.
restating someone else's joke, Chris.
Good joke, Matt.
That was...
I assume the Cardassian sex is where it's like that, where they just lay eggs and then the dude comes and spunks on them. But there is still some romance because afterwards they spoon.
We're gonna make that joke
That's
forever.
two jokes now.
So I already made a spoon joke, Jake, but
we got to keep it going.
That's fine. I'm down
You
with
think
it.
the spoon is, like, crazy sensitive?
Oh, man, I hope so.
Is it like Ferengi ears? Do Cardassians just lick each other's spoons constantly?
I would. I'd put a little scoop of ice cream in there.
Well,
I want to see a sitcom scenario where, like, an odd couple where there's, like, Garrick and Bashir they're doing like a domestic thing and they're just living together and you know, hanging out and Garrick's making a cake and Bashir walks in and, you know, Garrick is mixing the batter and then Garrick's like, oh, okay, hey, do you want to lick the spoon? And Bashir's like, when in Rome. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
I'm now just picturing Gul Dukat lying down while somebody very delicately, with like very tiny instruments, makes a miniature banana split on his forehead.
And then feeds it to a hamster.
Yay!
Oh, hamster.
You've
Or a
tho-
vole,
you- You've
since
seen
he's a
those
Cardassian.
videos, right?
I have, yes, they're delightful.
Yeah. Getting back to the Galora wants to fuck O'Brien thing, though, I had one more note. Because I was getting, like, severe Leia Brahms vibes out of her for a while, when it was the two of them trying to one-up each other and how well they can engineer things. And there was a moment where she's giving him lip saying, like, oh, you shouldn't have changed this, this, this. And I'm like, oh, no. O'Brien, don't show her where Pup is. Because remember, we've entirely forgotten, Pup has been here all along.
Yep.
Fucking Pup.
I forgot about Pup.
Yeah, so
I tried
to forget about
I
Pup.
kind of thought early in the episode, before they introduced obviously evil Dijar,
Oh, she was so obviously evil.
that
that Galora was the evil
was
one.
gonna, because like in the first scene she makes a Terok Nor slip up.
Oh yeah, Turok no.
I
Deep
mean,
Space Nine.
Space Nine.
Yeah, I thought that too, actually. It was like a double-blind, evil asshole Cardassian.
Well, what I love is you got her where you're like, yeah, like, maybe she's just grumpy, maybe she's actually shady, but then fucking Domjot there shows up and you're just like, oh, you are not even, thank you.
Not Domjot.
You are not even trying to not be evil. Like, I get that this works on Cardassia, because that's the point, but you should be at least kind of undercover right now. You suck at this.
Yeah, because the other two scientists, they know all along what this ruse is going to be. They don't tell anyone. By the way, she's not going to actually do any science for us because she doesn't know any.
She's probably going to sabotage your instruments, though.
Yeah.
FYI.
Like, they're there and they're like, oh, this is going to fail and all our science isn't going to help.
Was it ever stated that the first problem with the transponder, the thing that, caused the wormhole to spaz out, was it ever directly stated that that was also an act of sabotage?
I don't think so.
Are we assuming that it was?
I wasn't, because they then were kind of like, well, okay, in a way it was sabotage, right? Because they're not allowed to talk about
they knew
things
that was
could
a
possibly go
possibility.
wrong. So I guess, like, technically it's kind of like sabotage.
I mean,
but
that feels very Soviet.
I don't feel like Dijar had anything to do with it,
I
though,
feel like because she was
necessarily.
at the controls when it happened too, though.
That dirty
True.
fucking bitch.
So I kind of wonder
She
if,
may
even
have
if it
fucked
was
with it,
a slight chance, if like she did like put her finger on the scale just to make it a little more likely to occur, maybe.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that occurred to me.
totally.
That's a good one.
She was just
Definitely
playing Animal
possible.
Crossing.
Oh man, who isn't?
Me.
That's true. We don't have a device that does that game.
God, you guys gotta
Even
get
if
the
I
device.
did, I wouldn't play it.
Well, you don't have to play
'Cause I
Animal
hate it.
Crossing,
No.
but you should have a Switch.
I'm a contrarian.
It's so fucking good.
Caitlin has Marshall right now, who is currently like
number one most
in the
sought
monthly
after.
poll.
And I fucking hate him. As soon as I saw Marshall was moving in, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then I looked on this list, and it was like Marshall's number one, and I was like,
yeah.
Can you
"People
sell
like
them?
this." Yes, for
So yes,
upwards of 20 million bells.
If by the time this goes out, listeners, one of you wants Marshall, hit us up on the website. We'll get you in touch with Caitlin.
Will she still have
So wait,
Marshall
you can
in a
buy
couple
and
of
sell
weeks?
people in this game? What the fuck is this?
Well, no. So like the way it works is that villagers will like come and go. Sometimes they'll decide like, I'm gonna leave because I want to go be a pop star and I can't do that here. And you can say, okay, go, or you can say, no, please stay. But when they're leaving, you usually have a couple days notice, and then the day before they leave, their whole house is packed up in boxes. Someone can come and visit your island and talk to them and be like, come live at my island. And they'll be like, sweet. So you can set it up so that someone pays you a nice advance to have the fucking asshole squirrel come live on their island.
So you're like
Yeah.
you're like his temporary agent.
Yeah, that's a good
Kinda.
one. It's better than saying I'm his owner, which is what Jake was saying. Which
I
is
mean,
somehow
yeah, like
worse.
it's not
Calls him like I see him.
It's not officially a mechanic built into the game. It's a thing people have worked out.
Yeah, so for the tune of like 20 million bells or like 2,000 Nook Miles tickets, I could sell a Marshall to someone, and I'm just like, good. I don't like him. I've never liked him. I've had him in other games. I think he's annoying. He's not that bad. He's a little squirrel. He's cute. I just don't like him.
You know who else no one wants around? Terry Farrell.
That's true.
Because her first scene here, she comes in, she's trying to quote rules of acquisition to Quark, who knows them all better than she does. And she gets one of them wrong, and she's like, "Oh, thinks, right. What was number 34 again?" And I'm like, "Oh God,
War
Terry Farrell.
Is good for business.
Terry Farrell, please don't deliver lines. Just don't even try. Just leave."
I like that Quark gave her a dirty look on the way out. Like, dude, she just, like, saved you.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have given those women some nasty shit.
Instead, he poisons poor
like
Morn
it's
with
her
it.
fault. Like, or asshole.
I like that everyone, like, is best friends with Morn, by the way, in the background.
Yeah.
I know Morn dropped by today. Morn, how is he? It's this wonderful running gag.
We didn't really see Odo at all this episode, right?
Only briefly when he was talking about having security forces hang around.
Yeah, at the beginning.
And same with Bashir, right? He only shows up for that brief exchange about Morn, right?
I think so.
It's in their contract. They have to appear somewhere.
Yep, it's that writer. Well, yeah, and I think that's the only time Quark shows up too, is when he's like, "I'm gonna poison people."
No, he's there.
Really...
He's there when they're dining.
Oh, right.
He brings them.
He serves the.
Yeah.
Yeah. He serves them their Cardassian
their food
cuisine
that they're not into.
I loved that they didn't like it. I loved they're like, "Oh yeah, we don't really eat that garbage."
Oh, but Dejar loves it.
No, I don't think Dejar
More
loves
yamak
it.
sauce, please.
Oh.
Either way, because she's Obsidian Order, whether she loves it or not, she loves it.
Well,
I don't know if it's so much that she loves it as that she, like, doesn't like Cardassian scientists making Cardassia look shitty and, like, act like spoiled brats.
why would if I were the scientist, I would have, knowing that I was in the presence of an Obsidian Order agent, I would have been like, Cardassian food, my favorite as a Cardassian.
Yeah, but they're honest.
Yeah, and they're also, they like, presumably after everything that happened in Defiant, the Obsidian Order has maybe lost a little sway and such, so there could be a little more direct tension between military personnel and Obsidian Order personnel.
Well, and they're gonna lose a little more, because from what Bulani said, they don't like when the Obsidian Order fucks up, so... I kind of wonder, like, is she gonna die? They're gonna kill her for not managing,
or at
right?
least, like,
I mean, that's.
Put her somewhere
but they are
out of the way.
Totally gonna disappear, Galani too.
Yeah, I like how she's like, "Oh no, my scientist friends will protect me."
She's gonna run away to Bajor.
Yeah.
No, I actually kind of like the scientists because they come in and they're like giving lots of sass to O'Brien, saying, "Yeah, this is why men usually aren't scientists on Cardassia." I'm like, I like that. That sounds right.
I was delighted. But then I thought, yeah, but these are like the evil race that we're not supposed to like. Feel like men's rights activists would jump all over it.
You can't not like a whole race. This is the exception that proves the rule, because we've met now a bunch of Cardassians who are good Cardassians.
Oh yeah, I don't mean that I don't like them. I just mean that this is a race whose culture is shown to be backwards from ours, and that's a bad thing.
Well, except I think if it was a wholly matriarchal society and they were saying they were like evil, that would be one thing. But it's like, it's just that of all of our stereotypes, one that is inverted there is the whole STEM act. Like, there's still plenty of men in government and in the military and all over the place.
Yeah.
It's just that, for whatever reason, the one thing that is... well, not the one thing, but one of the big things that's different there is the stereotype about who is better at science.
Yeah, because it's harder to do science evilly.
True.
Yeah, and it probably is, like, a sexist thing even on Cardassia, where it's like, science and women's work.
Oh, God, yeah, you're probably right.
Oh, they're keeping us alive with science. Fuck them.
Okay, go play with your little wormhole, ladies.
Oh, these fucking women said I should wear a mask when I go out so I don't get Bajoran flu. Because that's what they'd call it. They'd call it something racist. Something racist like Bajoran flu. Yeah. Anyway. But yes, I loved that. I loved that moment, and so that happens before she starts hitting, like right before she starts hitting on Miles. So I thought she was like turned on by him actually being technically savvy, which maybe she was, but she still sort of says that the reason why she was going for it was because she thought he was flirting with her. So when that little reveal happened like 3 seconds later, I was kind of like, I just thought you thought it was hot that he liked science.
I mean, she did kind of give him, like, she was very dismissive of him until he was like, let me work. And then she like, gave him a look. So I wonder if it was a mix.
Well, she was also, though, dismissive of him because she was, like, dealing with her own stereotypes about men and how they're useless when it comes to science, right?
Yeah.
And also, I think that and being very annoyed at, these Federation people fucking up her perfectly good Cardassian tech with their tertiary systems and
double backup.
And not wanting things to explode and
plus,
better something or others.
Plus, I mean, just fucking look at him. I mean, come on.
Later in the episode, she was like, wait a minute, what happened to your replicator turret that shoots people?
Wait, that reminds. She asked, didn't in that episode when Gull Swagger showed up, didn't he ask for red leaf tea then as well?
Yeah, I think that's what he had.
That.
Because it turned off the turret and then it made the tea and then it turned the turret back on.
It was a tea made of turrets.
Well, you can't spell turret without T.
Anything else about Destiny, though? We've been talking for a little while here.
Just that religion is stupid, and I'm glad that Cisco doesn't take it seriously. And,
but he seems to at the end.
Well, I'm glad he didn't in the beginning.
Well, I mean,
anyway.
the only thing is, like, as much as the Bajorans go on and on about prophecy, I think the one takeaway here is, que sera, sera, because obviously, whether Cisco knew about the prophecy or not, the same shit would have played out. So, who gives a fuck? Leave the prophecy at home.
Kira's little pep talk of, I think it was Kira, saying, what would you do if you didn't know anything about this prophecy? And he was like,
Dax.
It was Dax.
Dax had another fucking line in the show? Jesus. Mistake.
I know.
Yeah, where it was, then just do what you would have done otherwise, because you're the emissary, and I don't fucking know. Grow a goatee.
Soon.
Home Alone reference?
What?
Oh, no. Okay, it wasn't. I forgot he actually does grow a goatee.
Grow tea.
Grow tea. In Home Alone, there's a scene where Kevin's mom and Kevin's dad are talking about packing, and Kevin's dad's like, I'm not going to be able to shave while I'm there because I don't have converters for our... And she says, grow a goatee. So I legitimately thought that for some reason you were quoting Home Alone, when in fact, sorry, guys.
That would have been a great non sequitur.
So little sleep.
Speaking of grow a goatee, profit motive.
Speaking of non sequiturs, profit motive. Profit motive, wow, that's a thing that sure did happen.
Okay,
so,
strap in.
I'm gonna give you the B plot first because it's really quick and stupid. Bashir has been nominated for the Carrington Award, which is like a Lifetime Achievement in Medicine award. It's the highest honor that Starfleet has for its doctors. And he's nominated by Dax, and he spends
Why?
There's a reason. I don't remember what it was.
Maybe it'll get him from trying to get into her pants all the time.
See, I was thinking the opposite, that it would actually just make him try harder, because it's like, clearly if she tried to have me nominated for this prestigious award, she must admire me greatly and therefore want to bed me. It feels Bashir-like. But anyway, he spends the whole episode talking to people about this award and how he doesn't think he'll win, but secretly he's writing an acceptance speech the whole time. It's stupid. I don't understand why it's
Does
here.
he win? Does he win?
No, he fucking doesn't win.
I know why it's here. I'll tell you later.
Awesome, I can't wait. I mean that, I can't wait. The A-plot, though, is that the Nagus is back on Deep Space Nine, but not the Nagus we know and love. This is a new Nagus who has he's revised the rules of acquisition so that basically... Wait a minute. There are perfect rules of acquisition for this.
Yay!
I have a note. The best way to explain this change in the Nagus, I feel, briefly, is that rule number 10, rule of acquisition number 10, has gone from greed is eternal to greed is dead.
Oh no!
That's about as much of a 180 as you could have for the Ferengi. And he's all about refund your customers when they complain, and I'm gonna buy everybody drinks because it makes me happy, and all this bullshit. And Quark is like, something ain't right. something ain't right. And he like forms a Ferengi benevolent society that he puts Rom in charge of. And I'm just like,
that was a mistake.
Yeah, well, and it was. I love it. We'll get there. But so Quark is like, this is not right. The Nagus is like the financial head of our whole world. Like, he would never do this, WTF. And then he finds out that the Nagus has one of the prophet orbs that he was going to profit from the prophets by selling it to the Bajorans. I guess what happens is the Nagus looks at the orb, has a vision, flies into the wormhole to chat with the prophecy aliens, and then comes out a changed Ferengi. And Quark figures this out because while he and his brother are like investigating the Nagus's chambers, they find the box, or not his ship. They find the orb, and he looks in it by mistake because Rom like opens the box and flashes him with it, and now he has a vision, and in the vision, the Nagus is basically talking gibberish, but it all leads him back to the prophets. So Quark goes to visit the prophets, and they're like, oh yeah, we devolved him to not be such an asshole. And Quark makes an argument for why they should re-evolve him to be more of an asshole. And basically the reason that sways them is because otherwise more and more Ferengi are going to show up, and you obviously don't like talking to corporeals.
Especially not Ferengi.
And they go back, and the Nagus has been restored to his usual asshole self. They destroy the new rules of acquisition. And after the Nagus leaves, Rom gives us this wonderful reveal that as the senior administrator of the Ferengi Benevolence Fund or whatever, he embezzled a shitload of the Nagus's money, and Quark has never been prouder. And me too, I've never been prouder. I didn't think Rom had the lobes.
None of us did.
No. Especially in this episode where he's mostly there to be... where literally everyone is there to be comic relief, and I was done with it from the word go.
I knew it. I was like, Ames hates this episode.
I don't like
I was
most
thinking
of this
of you.
episode.
I mean, I thought this episode was pretty dumb too. So
It's so silly. Everything is stupid. It was directed by Rene Aubergenois, which is absurd. It was his first director gig with DS9, and he was like, oh, I was so lucky to have this episode because Armin and Max do most of the work for me.
I mean, that's fair.
yeah, I mean, there's the scenery.
Wait, which one's Max? Is that Rom?
Rom.
Yeah.
The idea that Odo's first episode was a Quark episode is fucking perfect. Like in a meta sense.
Yeah, it means he doesn't, like, Odo doesn't interact with Quark almost at all in this whole episode.
True.
Yeah.
I don't think they do at all. He has a brief interaction with Julian.
Yeah, brief unnecessary comment with Julian.
Which I thought was totally not in Odo's character anyway. Like, Odo doesn't care about what his friend's ex-wife's cousin who works for the Ministry of Medicine doesn't give a shit.
He just wanted to boast that he has a friend.
Yeah.
Aww.
I also kind of felt like maybe somebody put him up to it just to fuck with Julian.
And I don't know. I
but
feel like
what could you give Odo?
What? Oh,
Hey.
like to put him up to something?
Yeah.
I don't know, because he doesn't need a bucket anymore, so you can't even offer him a nicer bucket.
Give him some modern art sculpture for his room to mimic.
To turn into. What were you going to say, though, Jake?
I was going to say that I feel as though Odo's absence from the Quark Nagus plot was very conspicuous. That Odo would be all over this. Because suddenly the Grand Nagus shows up, sets up a freaking charity on DS9 and all this other stuff, and I feel like Odo would have immediately smelled a rat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like it should be
And
some
not
kind of
himself.
a plot. Like when Zek faked his own death to like do this whole giant ruse. It was a whole test kind of a thing. And that's what Quark thinks at first, like, it's a test, but what's the test? Let's figure this out. And then it's not even that.
It was really weird when he first showed up, where he was in the, like, face-hiding cloak. It's like, what? Are you trying to travel incognito? You've still got the fucking cane and your giant manservant.
It's probably just because they couldn't have Wallace Shawn there that day.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Oh god, he spoke, albeit in a vision.
Yeah,
Doesn't
it was,
count.
that was an alien.
No, I know, it was just still funny to actually see him
That
say something.
actor.
Holy shit.
His mouth works. Wow.
Yeah.
I just assumed the actor was also mute. Yeah, I don't know.
think I ever noticed that he didn't talk before.
Well, he talks to Zek. We learned that he's
Right.
just sworn to only speak to his boss.
His boss.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The fact that Odo wasn't involved in the plot made it dumb. The fact that the wormhole aliens are now also have the magic power to completely rewrite people's personalities, which was new, which I guess is not totally out of the realm of possibility for them. It seemed like an unnecessary tool to add to their set of powers.
Which I'm sure will
never be used again. And then there's also this whole idea that it was like incredibly special that Sisko spoke to the prophets. So special, in fact, that now he is a religious figure on Bajor. Yet now they'll just talk to anybody that goes into the wormhole.
Well, they had the orb with them, though.
Well, okay, so what's to stop any Bajoran? What's to stop Kai Wynn from going into the wormhole with an orb, opening it up, and having a convo? And
do they just bring their
literally
orbs
nothing,
with them?
right? What did you say, Ames?
I don't know.
Did they bring their orbs?
Do they bring the orbs wherever they go?
I'm just saying they could, now that we know that you can literally get a face-to-face with the prophets by opening an orb in the wormhole.
Well, no. No one knows that except for Zek, Quark, and probably Mahar do. And Rom has forgotten it already because he's that dumb.
Has he?
Yes.
I feel like Quark would monetize this, though. He'd be like, go on wormhole, go on a pilgrimage to the wormhole, and you can talk to the prophets. And
yeah, but Zek is the one with the orb.
Yeah, well, maybe
which he's now selling to the Bajorans.
Yeah, he should just keep it for himself and start up wormhole prophet pilgrim tours.
Yeah, they'd probably start killing people at that point.
Yeah, they'd eventually shut down the wormhole entirely.
Yeah. Hey, is your wife a bitch? Go into the wormhole and have her personality rewritten.
It's the Penfield mood organ.
Don't get the reference.
That is
don't need to know.
The novel version of
Hitchhiker's Guide? It sounds Hitchhiker's Guide. Oh, really?
No, weirdly, no. It's from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep.
Oh,
great.
Don't read it. Movie's better.
I was going to say O'Brien will be first in line, but it won't be to change her personality. It'll be that so she looks like that hot Cardassian doctor.
Oh, God.
It's easier, certainly, to change a man's appearance than his mind, so they should be able to do that, right?
Yeah.
Look. I don't mind having a wife, but a kid was a mistake. Could you just, make it like she never existed?
Yikes.
But yeah, I don't know. The fact that now Quark and Zek are now also emissaries is kind of stupid.
Yeah, but no one else knows about them. And how did you guys like the sequence in the wormhole? What they tried to copy from Emissary?
I thought it was funny in the sense that they tried to copy it from Emissary.
It felt like a very cheap knockoff to me.
Well, I think it was intended to be.
Well, yeah, because it's a Ferengi.
Yeah, Sisko was in there and taking it.
Trying.
Yeah, he was trying to live in the moment and communicate. And Quark's just like, "Oh, hey, you're here,"
Yeah, I don't know. I like the episode by and large.
Of course
because
you did. Of fucking course you did. Ugh. Can I block Chris's screen? No, I can't. There, that'll work. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. You can still hear me, though. But yeah, I found it kind of amusing that it was just their one previous interaction was with Sisko, who's, this serious Starfleet officer who's doing this whole thing, and now they have to deal twice in a very short time, although from their perspective, who knows, two fucking Ferengi, and there's what? We thought we had you corporeal things figured out, but apparently there's a bunch of you, and some of you are assholes, and we don't know how to deal.
And, as we learned
I wrote in my notes that it's very Twin Peaks.
How so?
Just that it's long and random, and I felt like in Emissary, every time they interacted with one of the other figures, it was there was a lot of rationality behind each one. There was a scene on the river with baby Jake. There was a scene with Jennifer dying. There was a whole bunch of meaningful moments and different ways to stage. And this one just felt like it was all the same creepy room with all the same characters you see every day. And it was there is no meaningfulness here.
You're right. It did feel like, I remember us talking about it, it did feel like each person had an assigned sort of personality element, whereas this is just council of interchangeable aliens.
Except
Sorry, Jake was trying to talk.
except for Jadzia, who was just fucking Terry Farrell talking. She doesn't even try. She doesn't even try.
No, it's true.
Like everybody else, like put on like an alien-y voice, like a very monotone, and she just talked. God damam it, Terry
Yeah,
Farrell.
how do you know the difference from her usual monotone?
That's true. That's true. I'm just like,
needs Worf.
yeah.
Worf will make her better.
Yeah, I was gonna make the
is
joke.
my hope, at least.
You know, as we
Yikes.
learned in The Price, Ferengi and wormholes just don't mix. Okay, just don't bother, guys.
That's good.
But yeah, no, I had fun with this one because I think I went through a similar kind of... Because I've either never seen this one or just completely forgot it, because I was just like, okay, it's a test, right? No, Quark is now assuming it's a test, which means it's not a... What is going on? And sort of just
Quark, my
following
boy!
I like when he licked the pages.
Yes,
that
that
was really funny. And
it takes him a while to decide
he's
that's
like,
not it.
Nope, that's not it.
That was
Tastes
weird.
like
It was
book,
really
book
funny.
taste, book taste. No, none of this makes
I
sense.
will say, I really want a book with a wooden cover now.
To lick, so you
Okay.
can lick the pages.
No, it just seems cool. Like, look at that.
My God, when they came
Nah.
back from reading Zek's logs, and Quark walks in because we didn't see any of the scene in which they read the logs, but then Quark comes in and tells you in the most expository scene that exists, okay, here's what I read in the logs to get everyone caught up on a scene that happened during commercial break. Are we all
Yeah,
set
that-
now? Great.
Let's
do a comic sneaking scene.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The
Oh,
heads
God.
popping out from the wall. God damn it.
Just like in Rascals.
Fucking humming Zek in the bag.
Oh, I hated that.
I forgive you!
I hated that. That's when I decided, Ames, that this was literally your hell this episode, was when he was humming in the bag. I was like,
Oh, no, it was way before the humming in the bag. Actually, what really fucking destroyed this episode for me was very, very early when they decided to make it an odd couple show because Quark moves in with Rom for a day, and they're like, oh, one's the clean one and one's the dirty one.
I guess
And
you
like,
could say it
"Ugh."
was a rom-com.
Well done.
Also,
Jake.
Rom stole most of his stuff from Quark.
I liked that.
Yeah,
Well,
that
he
was
fucking
fine.
should. He pays him like a tenth of what he makes. He could probably barely live.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like Quark probably owns his apartment and rents it to him. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like,
Probably.
fuck him.
Yeah, I did kind of think it was... I wish they had done more with the everything in Rom's apartment is stolen from the bar.
What else could
Yeah.
you do with
I don't
it?
know, but it just ended so abruptly. Like, it was just like, all right, that plot's done.
That's because they had
thread-
to have a
that
the
thread's just
long
gonna
book
dangle.
flicking scene.
Isn't that my butt plug from my private stores? How dare you?
Everything here is mine. No, not everything.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was it.
what was
It
that?
was just like,
I
like
ear
ear
dildo,
cleaner.
his ear vibrator.
See, that's the thing. I was thinking it was like you know, oh, is your dick too like short and not hard enough? Well, use this legendary technique to
Swedish-made
fix it. Yeah, that's
Penis
what.
enlarger
maybe-
pump.
I just
Maybe he
assumed it was
hoping to,
a device for performing umaks on yourself.
He didn't seem to be enjoying it that much.
Well,
I don't think
Yeah,
you go inside the ear canal for
well, you
umaks.
know, it's not the,
Yeah,
some
that
you
was
people
do
just
if you're a
cleanser.
pro.
What isn't there people that stick things up their dick hole?
Sounding.
Ah!
Yeah, it's called sounding.
That sounds like the
Yep.
worst thing
What?
on the planet.
Yeah,
Chris-
clean break.
Chris has cut all of that. Because I'm going to tell you what this originally was based off of, which was an original teleplay by Ira Stephen Bear that he wrote up for Taxi and was never, taken by Taxi. But the idea there was going to be that the character Louis, I know nothing about Taxi, so I can assume there's a character named Louis.
Was Louis?
Louis is
that Danny
DeVito.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Who
Oh.
should have been a Ferengi, and the
Yeah,
fact that
he
he never
would have
has
been
been
a
is a
great
crime.
Ferengi.
All right, it makes a lot more
Being
sense now
4
because
feet tall.
Yeah,
literally
no.
I know nothing about Taxi.
Danny,
But knowing
the
it's Danny
barnacle
DeVito.
DeVito.
In which Louis' uncle Sylvester is coming around, and Louis is like, oh man, my uncle Sylvester is like the biggest womanizer in the world. I've learned everything I know from him. I'm going to show off how womanizing I am when he's here. And then Sylvester shows up and has changed his ways, and Louis is like, oh, what the fuck happened there?
What the fuck?
And knowing it's Danny DeVito actually makes it make more sense for me now.
Yeah, no, Louis kind of is a proto-Ferengi, because, yeah, he's a womanizer, he's a dispatcher
4 feet
at
tall.
a taxi firm, so, I mean, he's not exactly rolling in dough, but he does well for himself somehow, because I remember there's an episode where he's, like, looking for kind of a nice-ish condo. But
Does
yeah,
he not?
I
Is not
never-
it his company?
I don't think so. I think he's just the dispatcher, but I haven't seen it in ages, so I couldn't.
And
be
like
wrong.
one of the jokes was that the dispatch booth was raised up so that he
Yeah.
was always taller than the people around him, but then when he'd come out of the booth, he would
He's
be
short
Danny
as shit.
DeVito sized,
It's wonderful.
Yeah,
which is a great joke.
I
it's
like
so
it.
funny that this was a taxi.
Well, it
episode.
actually makes a
That's so
lot of
fucking-
sense. 'Cause
So much sense.
Even if it like if you had told me that this was an adapted script from just about any workplace comedy, I would buy it.
Yeah, it's very, very sitcom-y. Like, you can tell where all the beats are formed around the jokes and the
Yeah.
sight gags and stuff. And, you know, I do give Rene Auberjonois some credit in that, you know, he does a lot of more interesting things. Like the two Ferengi reading a book in front of the stars in the window is a very fantasy-looking kind of a thing.
Mm.
I think he did what he could, and the silliness just outweighed anything you could possibly fix in this episode.
So I wonder if
What
in
did you fix
the
it?
revised rules, if Rule 34 is peace is good for business, and if Rule 35 is war is good for business.
I hope so. I hadn't thought.
Well, I
of
would
that, but I hope
imagine-
so.
I would imagine because his brain was rewritten by the aggression-averse wormhole aliens, it would be war is bad for business.
But then the
Right,
next
but
one would
they
be
already-
peace is
they
bad
already-
for business.
They already have. The rules 34 and 35.
No, I know they're.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
But I'm just saying, like, I can't, like, I get where you're coming from, but in reality, but in the world of the show, you feel like they would be trying to discourage war because it's.
But
so
the
there would
rules
be, like,
also
pieces-
discourage war as it is.
But not as much as it encourages war.
Mm.
It is.
Although we did have that thing, gosh, ages ago now. It feels like where Quark made a very convincing argument against war for the sake of profit with that Vulcan Maquis.
I mean, didn't Quark's cousin buy a moon by selling weapons?
Did they say how he got the moon? I can't remember. I just know he has
I
one.
was gonna say he definitely has a moon.
Maybe they say it
I
later.
didn't-
I feel like it is.
Yeah,
I
I don't
feel like
remember.
it either came up or does come up that his cousin, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but his cousin has the moon through selling weapons.
Mm.
I think it would be awesome if they kept bringing up the
Gala.
moon because
Gala,
we know
yeah.
that's right because we know that it's already come up before since Odo was already so
The
well
one with
versed
the
in the
moon?
story. It would be really great if it just kept coming up. Like I would be all for
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you know what does come up again is the self-sealing stem bolts.
Yeah, that was a callback.
Great reference. Love it.
So here's my question though: Did he think that he still had the stem bolts that the kids sold?
No, I think it's
Or
just a
these
new
stem
batch.
bolts? Oh, was it? That's too bad because I was thinking for a while that this plot is about 2 minutes long. But in the beginning, I was like, oh no, he's gonna try to sell her the stem bolts, and he doesn't have them anymore because he somehow doesn't realize that they're gone.
Well, he
But
never
if
he
it's a
never
new
bought
batch,
them in the
that's-
first place, right? Like that was the whole thing. Was that his?
They were given to him.
No.
No, they had.
There was
Didn't they
a-
have? No, you're right. It was Yamak sauce. They had the Yamak sauce.
No, there was a dude that had the stem bolts, and like Quark was the middleman or something, and the buyer dropped out. So the guy was
and-
stuck
Yeah.
with
Oh,
the
is
stem
that
bolts.
what
So
it
then
is?
Quark had an excess. Yeah, no, that's what it was. Quark had an excess of Yamak sauce that the kids traded for the stem bolts. And then what did they do with the stem bolts? That's what I don't remember.
Didn't they sell it for land?
Yeah, they traded it for
Yeah,
land,
that's right.
so
that's
that they
the
could
thing.
like vote in Bajor or something.
That thing at the end, Quark couldn't have been confused because at the end he finds out they have the land that he
Yeah.
wants.
That's right. Okay, fine.
So he ends up getting the land.
Fine.
So new self-sealing stem bolts. It is impossible.
I can only
Impossible to
imagine though
say.
that like they found out that they were defective and returned them or something, or somehow it is going to turn out that they are the same batch of stem bolts and they've just been floating around for years.
There's
That'd be
only
fun.
100. There's only 100 gross in the whole Alpha Quadrant, and they just keep
Yeah.
changing hands.
No one actually uses them for their intended purpose.
Mhm.
No one knows what their intended purpose is. It's actually just a box of metal that fucking Harry Mudd sold to somebody 100 years ago, and it's been doing the rounds ever
Apparently
since.
that girl
Like
that was
candy corn.
umoxing Quark at the beginning
Mm.
was needed them for something.
Yeah, which I kind of missed it, but it felt like the thing her family was making was. I feel like they gave it intentionally like just as weird a name. Like it was like a. It sounded like it was another auto thing, like a self-sealing bolt. where he was weird.
Neat.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
I would like to move on and talk about Bashir. More specifically, I want to talk about Bashir and O'Brien playing darts.
Darts.
It finally happened!
Jesus.
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, they picked up these darts because they didn't want to do the racquetball thing anymore because it was way too expensive to build that set every fucking time. They wanted to do pool, but they had heard a rumor that they were going to play pool on Voyager and didn't want to copy.
Well, what about Dom Jot? That's space.
Then they'd have to come up with the rules for Dom Jot at that point.
We've already seen Dom Jot. And we already have a table.
Well, yeah, yes, but they would have to actually come up with rules now, which they hadn't done.
And we know that there is Dom Jot on DS9 because Jake is a shark.
Hustler, yeah.
Yeah, Dom Jot shark. But they also had to, the Deep Space Nine folk had to hire our new official darts advisor, James Lomas. So whenever you see a dart actually hit the board, chances are he's the one that threw it.
Yeah, that was one thing that, like, I don't, I've played darts before. But I'm not claiming any kind of expertise. But even me, a complete layman, could tell, like, they were basically just dropping the darts as soon as their hands were off camera. Like, because they were letting go of them way too late.
Yeah, well...
I also hated their, like, future darts board,
made
the lights.
Made a singing noise every time.
They get rid of that, right? Because I feel like I remember it being a normal dartboard. I think
it always has lights and shit on it, if I remember.
It counts your score for you, kind of a thing?
Well, it must, right? Because they weren't keeping track, and that's one thing about darts, is no matter, there's so many different types of games that you can play with darts, but they all pretty much rely on keeping accurate track of what you've hit.
Yeah.
So the board better be keeping track. I didn't see any display or screen that showed what your current score was.
The funny part is they actually do make dartboard, and have for a long time, dartboards that keep track of your score while just looking more or less like a dartboard with a screen attached. So the fact that they had to, like, make it extra futury is just like, really, guys?
Well, I've seen light up dartboards, though. It's not that unusual.
No, I mean, the way it was done was like, I don't know. It looked a little too sci-fi.
It's like
Chris
the
is
fucking.
Sad it wasn't a silly thing.
It's like the fucking symbol in goddamn Nemesis, the green fucking plastic symbol.
Oh, the symbols, yes.
God fucking damn it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's distractingly, like, trying too hard.
This is a future thing. See,
it reminds me of a story from TNG where in the pilot they wanted to have, like, because there's the scene where Wesley falls into the river in the holodeck.
Fucking Wesley.
And they were like, all right, so we're going to have this big arch show up and it'll dry him and this and that. And Gene Roddenberry went, how about somebody just gives him a towel? And it's like, yeah, you can definitely over-egg the whole future thing sometimes. And I feel like this was one of them.
Yeah, I also can't imagine how much money they already had spent on this episode. Because, they have all the effects in the wormhole. They have all the effects with the looking in the box and having Zek's head float in the box.
Oh, like Jambi the fucking genie. I forgot about that. Oh,
God, this fucking episode.
Why was their darts board set up, like, in the fucking cargo bay? That's...
Because they were hiding out from Keiko.
That's what I was wondering, like...
She's on Bajor.
Yeah, she's not even there. It's like...
That's true.
Why is this...
That's the cargo bay where he drinks all his secret coffee she doesn't know about.
Oh, Julian, this is welcome to me man cave. Oh,
they didn't want to pay the extras for an additional day of filming in the bar
Quarks.
For this episode. Because I know they eventually do just move to Quarks for it. I feel like another good reason to Ames to not have pool would be that takes up a fuckload more space.
It does.
Shooting is more complicated.
Yeah, continuity with the balls is impossible.
Would be a nightmare. Yeah, like it just.
Well, it's a lot harder to have someone fake that shit. I feel like.
Yeah, pool would be a nightmare from a filming perspective, which is probably why they ultimately didn't use it on Voyager if they had actually been considering it.
Play Dom Jot, human.
Yeah. The other thing about the Bashir subplot, because I know Caitlin was like, "Why is this here?" The answer is it's a kind of very veiled reference to TNG in that TNG was nominated for an Emmy for Best Dramatic Season or Best Dramatic Series.
Whoa!
And they just knew, like, everyone in TNG's like, we're not winning because they never give awards to sci-fi, so we just know we're not going to win. And yet the whole time you're like, but what if we do? What if we do win? Everyone's like, will they actually win? And they were convinced that some other show would win. And it's like, no, it's not even going to be a thing. Forget it. And of course, they didn't win.
What piece of shit did they lose to?
Picket Fences.
I don't even know what that is.
Which I don't even know what it is either.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't know. Probably a fucking primetime soap or something.
Yeah, I think they were convinced. I don't want to say NYPD Blue would win or something like that, but that one didn't even win.
Imagine
wow.
losing.
Yeah, that was
Imagine losing to NYPD Blue.
Hey.
No, that was a fucking
That was
juggernaut
huge.
back then.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
I'm surprised
Remember, like, that
lost.
was like the first show to show a man ass on network TV.
Ooh.
It was, yeah, that was a
Huge
big
shit.
deal.
Huge ass.
Huge ass.
I also think it was like, I want to say it was like the first show to say shit or something on network television.
Are you allowed to say shit on network television?
You were after that.
I think there's
Really?
like there's guidelines, and it's all you know what's interesting though about like the obscenity regulations are really very subjectively written, I believe. So the network censors basically have to do a calculus of like how likely is it that someone's going to make enough of a stink about this to get a complaint through the FCC.
I see.
So if they decide, like, if they're like, yeah, we're going to say shit, but we're going to make it a huge media event and it's going to be written up in TV Guide before we do it and everyone's going to know it's happening. You know.
Yeah, but then people could like rally against it, saying, "Oh, they're gonna say shit."
Oh
Get your
yeah,
picket
well, yeah,
boards
but
out.
again, that's like that whole like
more ratings.
Yeah,
no such thing as bad
exactly.
publicity.
I mean, I feel like they did the same thing. Does anybody remember the big fucking event it was when Ellen came out?
South?
No, I was gonna say Ellen when she came out on her show. It was like it was not a great show. It wasn't a very popular show. I mean, it was on network TV, but I don't think it was like one of the top shows.
It wasn't huge,
but
no.
When it was made a big media event that, oh my God, Ellen's gonna come out on live network television, it instantly that show was a hot commodity just because people wanted to see it. And of course that came with like people complaining that
except I think like that episode did well, but I feel like the ratings pretty much went back to what they had been before that really quickly.
I remember my family watching it even before that though, so
yeah.
I was
It's not
thinking
like
you were talking about the episode of South Park where they were like, all right, we're going to have all the bad words uncensored this week.
yeah.
I think that actually might have been them referencing the NYPD Blue thing.
But that's like, because that's a cable show. So
yeah, they have
didn't
a lot more leeway.
They don't have to worry about the FCC. They only have to worry about their advertisers.
Huh.
And then, I like the British approach. Once it's 9 p.m., you can say whatever the fuck
and
you
show
want.
whatever you want.
Ugh.
Definitely on board for that.
Nope.
But I just love that, like, 9 feels a little early. It's like, all right, it's 9. Cunts all around.
No.
Literally and figuratively?
I think there's still limitations on what you can show. Like, I don't think you can show full penetration.
No. I think you can show a boob, though.
I think, certainly Monty Python.
Oh, they
Had a
they
fair
showed
bit
full
of-
70s bush, too.
Did they?
There was, like, naked, like, totally naked
It's
women.
only
You couldn't,
hair,
like,
Caitlin. Jeez.
What,
But
well,
was
that's
that-
what I mean. You couldn't.
Was that
you
in the
probably
show or
can't
one of the
show-
movies, though?
I thought it was the show, but I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
They're kind of
All I
blurs
know
together.
is you probably could not show below the mons and show labia
The labs.
and actual vagina, but I'm pretty sure the mons pubis has been fine.
Anyway,
on Python.
I've dragged us horribly off course as I tend to do. I apologize. Any final thoughts?
Hey, they watch their award shows on Zoom too.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow, the coronavirus never goes away.
Yeah, I'm surprised
Yeah.
there wasn't like they'd have like a big award show and a red carpet for the Carrington Award. I don't know.
Put your face on a robot, have that guy walk in.
I'm glad Julian
Actually,
lost.
if they're saying that all the people who win are like 500 years
100?
old, they probably don't want them transporting very much.
Well, what I don't understand too is like that seems like another instance of a very homocentric sort of awards thing, right? Like, oh, 100's too young. Well, yeah, 100's wicked young for some species. Spock was over 100.
Yeah, they said there was a Vulcan who was nominated. How old was that person?
Well, not old enough to win, clearly.
And I'm sure there are species that are much longer lived than that. So The fact that like
Well,
it's
I think-
the 100 is the cutoff is like, okay, all right, sure.
I feel like, once he gets over it, though, this will become part of Julian's insufferable catalog of... It's like, did I mention that I was the youngest nominee ever for the Carrington Award?
Yeah, but didn't your friend nominate you?
As a joke to embarrass you.
The award committee did accept it, so...
Yeah.
As a joke to embarrass him.
It's because they had to accept all the nominees. They probably only got those 5 people.
No, some award things, the way it works is like there's a bunch of nominees, but then you actually like narrow down the field.
I just mean because who gives a shit?
This also kind of came out of nowhere, because I've never considered Bashir much of a medical researcher. We don't see him doing a ton of work.
We do.
We see him playing a lot of darts.
Well, no, but there was that girl that he, like, cured from not being able to walk.
That wasn't all his work, though.
Yeah, but he made it work. Like, he built off of somebody else's stuff, but he was the first one to actually get the therapy to actually work. And it would have worked if she didn't just puss out. Yeah.
Maybe it's just that I don't quite know what Bashir's role on the station is, because he's the CMO, which means if there's ever something going wrong medically around the station, he's the one in charge of figuring that out.
Yeah.
But he's also this prolific. Bashir.
Prodigious?
Yeah, prodigious sounds cool. Medical researcher who's, putting all these studies into papers and getting nominated for awards.
He does. I feel like he's done significant. So he did the thing with Malloy. He did. He gave half a brain to what's his fuck last week.
Yeah, he was the first person to blah 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 Barile.
Yeah, but he died like fucking crazy.
Yeah, but he could have kept him alive. He just would have gone full robot.
Beep boop.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand. I don't think they've done a lot of showing of it, but I think that the idea is that he is a prodigy. So I think we'll see more of that in the future as well.
Yeah, maybe it's just that he's generally so insufferable that I block out any other personality aspects of Julian. I did like how while they were playing darts, O'Brien was the one that was so fucking insufferable.
Oh yeah, it was all part of his plan to win.
Win at darts?
That. Yeah, he was purposely distracting Julian so he'd keep fucking up his throws.
Oh, is that what he was doing?
Yeah, that's why at the end, Julian sidles up to him and goes, so, how long, because he realizes what he's up to. He's like, all right, I'll plot too, can play at this game. Oh, how long till Keiko gets back? And O'Brien fucks up and
I just thought they were both terrible at darts.
No, he was, like, pretty much every time he fucked up, it was after a pointed question from O'Brien.
I missed that.
I also missed that, but delighted.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, let's wrap this thing up. We haven't talked about the episode
Chris
in a while, so
salad
I think
fingers over here now.
Oh no!
Don't acknowledge him, and he'll just die alone, and it'll be fine.
I like to touch the rust. Fucking salad fingers. I hate that so fucking much. Thing.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Creepy piece of shit. Anyway, well, if you liked that and you want to hear more,
did you like that?
Yeah, did you? Well, too bad.
I like talking about it.
Huh? I like talking about it too. Yeah, I didn't. I thought the first episode was like okay. I just it's like there was a lot of like techno babbly, which I don't usually love because I'm just like I don't fucking get it, but okay. And the second episode was just dumb. So
second episode was amazing, except it was 2 B plots at the same time. There was no.
That's actually a good point. I think either of those could have been better if they were the B plot to a better episode.
Having said that, I still loved everything to do with the Ferengi half.
I was going to say the opposite, which was that the Bashir side thing could have worked with a better episode. But I'm not sure that you could make the Ferengi one good.
Yeah, I mean, the Bashir side, it's so B-plotty because, like, it's not at all... There's no interesting elements.
Yeah.
Except maybe playing darts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Darts.
It's
just
nothing
filler.
happens.
It feels like entire filler.
Yeah.
Filler diller. Right now.
And especially, I think it doesn't help, too, that we watched it paired with an episode that was, like, super relevant and important to the arc that we were dealing with. Like, It's like we just found out about Cardassian peace. Now we're working together with the Cardassians peacefully.
Yeah, it's also very funny that 2 wormhole alien specific episodes are like back to back all of a sudden. You're like, I forgot about these guys and the prophecies. Oh, they're
Well, wait
here.
till we hit a run of 4 Garrick episodes in a row.
I'm for that.
I can't wait.
Yes.
That sounds perfect. Have we already got Rossi lined up for that?
Don't know yet.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. All right.
What's next week?
Next week, we're going to talk about 2 more Deep Space Nine episodes. What? Visionary and Distant Voices. And so if you want to check that out, or if you want to, satisfy your craving for a star to steer her by in the meantime, you can find us where all fine podcasts are sold. We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. If you want to follow us on other platforms, you can find us on Facebook by searching A Star to Steer Her By. We are SSHB Podcast on Twitter and Tumblr, and you can also visit our website at sshbpodcast.com. I thought that I almost did that. I almost did. There was something about it that would have felt right. Thank you,
Nope.
Jake. Thank you, Jake, for being the
it's a
change I
Ferengi joke.
want to see in the world.
Anytime.
And that was one thing that bothered me about this episode. One of these episodes. I don't remember which one, but at one point I remember thinking, did Google fail at some point? Because y'all don't seem to know things. And it seems hard for them to find info sometimes. Anyway, rule of...
Oh, they drink bugs too. I meant to mention that.
Bug juice.
Sorry.
I remember drinking
Now
that
we're
at
done.
camp.
And they have bug snuff too.
Well, that we knew.
It's not fun for the Beatles! Oh, fuck, we didn't reintroduce ourselves. I'm Caitlin.
Oh God.
This has been Chris.
This has been Jake.
That's
this
not...
is this.
Yeah,
is
way
we're
out of
order
order,
going
but that's all
happening.
Who
This
are
is-
you? Who are you, Ames?
This is generally Ames. We have a bunch of rules of acquisition to
Just
to
do
reel
one.
off.
Pick
yeah.
your favorite.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is we already touched on some of them, but number 285 revisited is, a good deed is its own reward.
Wait, did you say there was a cut one, Ames?
Oh, there was a cut one.
Tell us, Ames, tell us.
The rule of acquisition that was cut would have been 104. Faith can move mountains of inventory.
Ooh.
That's actually a pretty good one. I like that.
And someone... Chris, stop fucking with that tube.
Sorry.
Okay. When they're packed up in boxes, someone's
He's still
been coming-
fucking with it off screen. I can see the shadow.
I know he is. Put it down. Fucking Jake over here.
He turned his screen off.
Good.
Brilliant.
Good, I'm glad. So,
Now he's playing it. Now he's putting it in his mouth.
Now
No,
where
I-
is it?
No, I think he was just whirling it around.
Yes. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Ugh.